to Rise and Shine, Creating 2020 Vision. Today is day 13 and our third day of the mindset conversation. And today I have with me here Kristie McKinley. Welcome, Kristie. You know what, Kristie? I think you're muted. All of a sudden you're muted. Just 2 seconds ago, she was fine. It's all good.
What? What's happening? Yes. Hello. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad to have you here. And hello to all of our live and replay viewers. Let us know where you're connecting from. Feel free to say hello in the comments. We have an awesome conversation today. Not only, of course, we're going to be talking about mindset and how your mindset can support you in moving towards your vision, towards what you want to experience in the world, but also I want to tell you a little bit about Kristie because I am excited by what she does. So Kristie McKinley is a self-care coach for conscious, heart-centered business owners and a Reiki master teacher. And of course, that's just her in a teeny tiny nutshell. And you can learn more and connect with her over at McKinleyCoaching.com. And that is in the comments here on Facebook. And but Kristie, I love that you're a self-care coach.
Thank you. It's been quite a journey. I have learned quite so much. I've learned a lot through self-care. Just because I can definitely speak to the need for self-care. And I thought it was just taking some time to like soak in a bath or go get a mani-pedi. Like everyone says, oh, let's go get a mani-pedi and de-stress. But I work with people that don't even feel worthy enough to even feel like booking an appointment or like, oh, I don't have time or I'm too busy or just an endless list of reasons why they, don't make themselves first. And I know that there's a long story around, if you make yourself first, you're perceived as selfish. But I'm here to tell you, and of course, you know this, is that when you take care of yourself first, you have the energy and the stamina to take care of others. So that's what I try to impart when I work with someone.
It's so important. And especially, of course, for conscious heart-centered business owners. I know, we've got a lot of those here that watch the show and are on that journey. And so self-care is a big, big deal. I want to, let's see here. We've got Helene with us and she is saying, hello, Kristie McKinley.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Helene.
Yes. And so let me just start off by asking you, when you think of mindset and, I'm just going to even just go in general with mindset, like what comes up for you when you think about the role mindset plays and how we experience life?
I think one of the first things that comes to mind is like in your environment, whether it's like your emotional environment, your physical environment, your spiritual environment, if that's your path. And it just in a sense of like the groundwork, like how is your foundation? Are you in a place where you trust yourself? Because if you don't, then you have a tendency to put your too much trust and power in someone else. And sometimes you can luck out and it could be a good person with the highest intentions.
Right.
But I know for my own self, with my own journey, sometimes I put my power in the hands of just those who are on their own journey, needing possibly to do the work, who knows. And just after a time, I just realized I was tired of being resentful and not heard. But again, if I was placing my trust in someone who didn't have my highest intention, then the thing is, wow, they just work, that's okay. They're just not here for me. They're here for themselves for whatever reason. And there's a lot of work to learn from that and not be beat down by the guilt of like, oh, here I did this again. What's wrong with me? Instead of saying, this is a really great opportunity to just choose another path. But that takes time and it takes patience. And up until recently with this long pause of the pandemic, I know for me, I'd been going so fast. If it hadn't been for this pandemic, I would still kind of, in a sense, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation because I'm like, go, I have to do something else. And I just wouldn't take that time to slow down for myself. So for me, I love this work because I've always had this innate curiosity about things. So when I have a realization about something, like, oh, wow. And with practice, I've gotten to the point of not judging myself. I'm just happy I realize it. And so I try and encourage that. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, no, at least you realize it. And it's just gradual and loving and sincere. And it's beautiful. It's just it's just beautiful, powerful moments in awareness.
I love everything you just said. So much. Yes, I can totally relate to it too.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just, to me, what's coming up is just all about that empowering yourself and saying,
Mhm.
okay, look, I was affected through this situation, and I'm going to choose to take my power back and realize, wait a second,
Mhm.
what different choices can I make?
Yes.
Because like you said, I'm tired of feeling resentment, or I'm tired of feeling this or that. And why did this happen again? Right. And so
Mhm.
such a beauty. I love that.
Yes. Yes.
Hello to Dom. He is saying happy new week.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
have Amet with us. And Amet, I do not speak the language that you have typed in the chat here, but hello to you.
Hello.
It's awesome to have you here with us. And okay, so I love this. So you kind of already spoke to mindset around self-care. I'll just
Mhm.
quickly say, does anything else come up for you when I just simply say, what's your mind? What kind of, what? Yes. Let's do this.
Mhm.
When you think specifically about self-care, what type of mindset do you think people tend to have about it? You started to delve a little bit into it, but let's just talk
Mhm.
about that a little bit more, focusing on that aspect. The,
I think another thing comes to mind is the view of looking vulnerable. Like, oh, I
yes.
have to slow down and shift gears and not show up as this powerful being. I have to like sit back and like nurture myself and take a bath. What's that about? And so I love that there's always there's conversation around vulnerability,
Yes.
because if we weren't designed to be vulnerable, we wouldn't come out of the womb as babies. We'd come out fully grown, like like deer and horses. They walking around in a couple of hours, but that, like, because of the animals that they are, that means their survival if you're not up and walking
Right.
around. And so when you and we kind of tend to bring that sometimes if we're raised in a certain family where survival is imperative and that's all you're learning. It's really hard sometimes to feel that any other option is comfortable. So unless you're open to receiving a lot of signs to the contrary, you're just kind of stuck there unless there's some huge event, like someone close to you having passing away, or having their own experience. Or I know for me, lots of times I've either had a mentor come up in my face with like truth with the capital T, or I've had a health scare, something to really kind of like, oh wow, I should probably consider a different way of addressing all of this. And I have. And it's trial and error. As time goes
Yeah.
on, you just get better at it, but it takes practice, and it takes kindness for yourself, and then surrounding yourself with people that understand, okay, you're struggling, and I will sit and hold space for you. That could be a cup of tea, listening to you rant on the phone, maybe social distancing in a park where you're just having a chat and taking the breeze, going for a walk. It's an endless amount of things, but I think all of that coupled with sometimes like the newest greatest fad of the month pops up, oh, I'll try that. And then when you don't resonate with that, then you're just like, there may be kind of like, oh, my friends are like resonating with this, and why can't I resonate with that? Because you just
Mm,
don't. That's end of sentence. But sometimes with our old story, we can add layers and layers of meaning, and then things get twisted, and then it turns into this cycle of like this hamster wheel of just not fun stuff. So it's just always an opportunity to like have gratitude and awareness for things that lots of folks don't even try.
right.
They just don't. And you love them, and you hope they figure it out, but you can't be attached to that. And that's one of the things I definitely had to learn with my own self-care. I love people so much, but I can't want their well-being more than them. I can't. that's that was the hardest lesson. That was one of the greatest teachings that my Reiki teacher was just like, you can't want more than them.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that took a little while to absorb, but I finally got it. So I'm a little hard-headed, I'll admit it. But yeah, it's like I love people a lot. It's okay.
I hear you on that one. I've had to learn that one too. Like detaching, you can love people, but also respect them enough to
Yeah.
allow them to learn their
Yes.
lessons, right? And
Yeah.
at the same time, who's to say that what I think is their lesson actually is their lesson, right? So it's
True.
like the more
Yes.
we can even just detach from
Mhm.
thinking we know what's going on with someone else, and just going, okay, well, this is what I'm experiencing. And well, how am I feeling about this? If it doesn't feel good, how can I honor myself
Mhm.
and where I need to detach? Oh, Kristie, I love. This could absolutely be way longer than a 30-minute conversation. Just saying. Okay. So I'm going to dive into, when I asked Kristie, I said, Kristie, what is an empowering quote, that you love? And so she shared with us, she said, give yourself permission to dream. And that's a Lisa Nichols quote. Do you want to say anything about that?
I love Lisa Nichols. I love her story. Just, I mean, there's not. I was like, do we even have enough human words for how I feel about Nichols?
Oh,
No, I don't. There are not enough human words. I can resonate with her struggle, being the oldest child of a single mom. So,
okay.
and then she was interviewed about how she was like going through her journey to where she is now, and how her family was like questioning her actions and was worried about her, and she was just like, I cannot. I love y'all, but I mean, I'm paraphrasing terribly, but I mean, it was just a really powerful. I was in a powerful interview. She's just love incarnate. I love her.
She's hugely inspiring. And I actually just saw today, apparently there's a documentary or movie featuring her called Dreamer.
Oh,
I think it's called Dreamer. It might be Dreamers, like something else added on to that word. I think it's a one word though. Yeah. And it's supposed to be free. Like the thing I saw said it was going to be free like this week or something.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Okay. So maybe Google that real quick if you want to access that. But yeah, I love that. So I'm curious, for those who are with us, do you also know Lisa Nichols' story and has that inspired you? Feel free to let us know in the comments. Yes, I totally know what you're talking about, Kristie. And we are moving right along in today's show. So I want to get right on to Kristie's vision. So Kristie, when I asked you what your vision is for 2020, and it's totally fine if anything shifted since then, but this is what Kristie said. She said, my vision for 2020 is more people living full and complete lives so they can transform the lives of others.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. I want to first ask you, okay, well, let me first ask you, what does that vision feel like for you? Like that vision manifested, what does the manifestation of that vision feel like for you?
It feels expansive and joyful and just overflowing with peace, because a business that's heart-centered and conscious is just they don't it's not that they face a lot of challenges. It's just sometimes the right way is not the most popular way, and so sometimes you can just be influenced by old stories.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you do the work, you realize, this is an old story and I have an opportunity to change the story. I have all of this evidence, all this all this evidence, all these signs, all these, unorchestrated confirmations that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm noticing these signs, and I'm grateful for these signs. And that doesn't change when you are of the service-oriented industry, like a lot of massage therapists and physical therapists. But it comes back to when you live a life where you're blasting it like 1,000 watts, that shows up in your work.
Yeah.
It shows up. It just does. You don't have to do anything. I'm grateful, and I feel, and this is a wonderful feeling, and this is a wonderful opportunity to be of value to someone else. And we're already naturally like loving, giving already. It's just how we regulate that love and that giving is what is the most important. So if we can just come to the place where I'm peaceful, I know that I am capable of doing all these things, and acknowledging the fear and the trepidation and any of the doubts and the imposter syndromes and any of that stuff that comes up, just like, what, I've been here before. I've gotten through this before. Again, and I know for me, I have to gently remind myself over and over again, I can do this. I have tons of proof that I can do this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
I love everything you just said. And the other thing that's coming up for me as you're talking about that is how when you have those moments where you're feeling like, oh, I'm experiencing this one thing again, right? This old story again, whatever it may be, to look at, okay, well, what have I learned since, what I can think of was the first time, right? What have I learned since then? And I'm
Mhm.
doing a great job of being aware of what's happening right now in this moment.
Mhm.
And then what might I be able to do to take it to the next level? So I maybe don't have to experience this cycle again,
Mhm.
or I can, maybe space out the amount of time I
Yeah.
experience it next time,
Mhm.
and go a little deeper with it. What's maybe that one thing you haven't done yet to, to be honoring yourself
Mhm.
even more so? That's what was coming up for me. Does anything come up for you when I say that?
Yeah, because I was kind of thinking sometimes when I get to a spot where I'm just like, okay, cycle of trying to like, because I like figuring out things for myself, and my newest lesson is getting to a point where like, okay, I have done that all I can do, and I'm just going to reach out. And since this year I see a therapist because I've had like a lot of stuff going on, and so I'm like, I've come to this point where I'm like, this thing keeps popping up, and so this trained professional, this cognitive therapist helps me through that. I'm like, okay, cool. And so that helps me get off that hamster wheel and write a new story. And for that, I'm grateful. And that's what I do. Like in my sessions, I'm like, maybe have you considered, a cognitive therapy, or like, I've been referring a lot of people to dance and movement therapists that I know that I've worked with specifically. She's a lovely soul. And I recognized, I was like, I'm really not as in my body as I thought I was. And so I've been doing things that encourage more movement, because that's lower chakra, that's root chakra, that's, sacral and dance. And you don't have to have taken lessons. You can just put on a favorite playlist and just do silly dances. Who knows? I don't know. None of my business, but just movement, just, little shoulder
Yeah.
shake. I don't know, just get crazy. Yeah.
Well, and you brought up one of my favorite words this year, embody. And so I was going to ask you next, so going back to your vision, my vision for 2020 is more people living full and complete lives so they can transform the lives of others. What does that vision look like embodied to you? What does that look like in a person who's embodying that?
Standing tall and confident, and just being present, not giving off, just I want it like neutral, but maybe like neutral slash loving, just like I'm here and I am the I'm just the embodiment of love right now. And I will remain this way until something happens and I shift and I become something else.
Well, and what I love about that answer is I'm getting, like you said, stand tall and
Mhm.
confident, and you said something else about it, but it really was like this, giving out this essence of I'm in my power
Mhm.
effortlessly.
Mhm.
That's what I got from that.
Yeah.
And something I want to point out, I don't know if our audience has noticed, or those who are watching the video replay of this, is that Kristie has this wonderful necklace
Yeah.
that occasionally, as she speaks or whatever, it'll do this shining. I mean, I'm staring at it now, waiting for it to happen. It'll
And
do this.
that won't happen the rest of the
I know. It'll do this reflection thing where it beams literally this bright light straight up. That is just like, to me, she's a Reiki healer. So it's all about that alignment with your energy and your chakras. And oh my gosh, I love it. So anyway, if you catch that, then I know I think it's happened once since we've been on live. I saw it like 5 times before we went live. Awesome. Okay, let's moving right along. You know what, Kristie, I want to go ahead and pull for everyone a self-care card. While I'm doing that, will you tell everyone, tell everyone a little bit more about what you do and where they can go to connect with you?
Mhm.
And I know you've got a free gift they can also access as well.
Oh, yeah. If you go to my website, mckinleycoaching.com, you can get a free ebook, 3 mistakes that keep you exhausted and how to overcome them. And then later on this week, I'm going to be releasing to anyone who is on my email list a free meditation around mindset. So I'm very grateful,
Awesome.
excited. It's like some equipment stuff that needs to be addressed, but it's all good. So yeah, I'm grateful. I love recording meditations. It's actually been some time, but I've gotten a lot of really great feedback from the ones that I have already done. So super grateful.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So one card just flipped over and I put that one aside. And Kristie, I would love if you would help me choose the next card. And
Okay.
so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some more shuffling, and
Mhm.
you say, when to stop, and the card on top will be the card that we'll take for our second card.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so just whenever.
Stop.
Okay, so the first card that came out, these are great cards. So the first card that came out is release.
Ah.
And the back of it says, have a good cry. Grief is a doorway to your deepest self.
Yes.
Okay, let me show the second card here. We have truth.
Yes.
The back says, tell the truth. Integrity is the key to living an authentic life. Kristie, would you like to say something about these cards?
Yes. And another thing I always encourage, never underestimate the power of screaming at the top of your lungs in your car. It's just aggressive singing, quite honestly. It still does the same end result as like getting fresh air into the lungs. Truth, absolutely. If you are not true to yourself about what you want in your self-care, it's hard to communicate that with anyone else. This is what I want in self-care. But if it's not your truth, if it's just another fad of the month kind of thing, because you haven't been willing to, like, for whatever reason, dig down deep into what your truth is and what really, and that's the reason why the body movement is so important when you're feeling into your body, because you can start to notice where you're feeling expansive, where you're feeling, contraction, and you're just more aware. So truth, yes, truth is just as important as foundation.
What I have also found is, and I'm going to put some photos up on the screen. I want to get your thoughts on these as well. What I just want to say really quickly is, when I have not been listening to myself, I find that that's reflected in other people who will not listen to me as well. And that's been a very painful lesson, is being so frustrated and hurt by this other person, thinking, why do they not ever hear me? And then finally going, wait a second, if I feel like they're not hearing me, in what way am I not hearing myself?
Yeah.
And so taking time to go, okay. Yeah. Let's open that door up. So, I just wanted to add that. So Kristie, when I was looking at your vision, again, going back to Kristie's vision of more people living full and complete lives so they can transform the lives of others. And also looking at your quote, give yourself permission to dream. I found a couple of images that I wanted to share. And here's the first one. Approved. You are approved. You have permission. And here's another one. This one is kind of interesting. And I wrote down some added notes on this. Let me, where is it here? Yeah. So here's another one. Here's what I just think is interesting. And when I was searching for images on a very legit image, stock photo image website, and I searched for the word permission, there were actually a lot of images that came up with some sort of, sentiment about thinking. So the image on the screen says thinking aloud. And here, I'm actually going to read my notes, because what I wanted to say on this. I said, when searching for images to go with the word permission, yes, there were two patterns. There was a pattern of, just bear with me, there was a pattern of seeing female breasts and naked women. Hold on. Yeah, those photos, plus graphics that emphasized permission in thinking. And for me, I just was like so surprised by this. And it wasn't like, there were scammers coming in and uploading these photos. It was like, there's something going on here with this trend. And the association in those words, really to me was reflecting back how there can be a mindset limitation around. Okay, hold on. I'm fumbling on my one. It really shows word association, what comes up for some people when you use the word permission, and how that mindset limitation can be lifted when we allow ourselves to shift our thoughts. So I just thought it was very fitting in terms of our conversation today on mindset, how when you feel so locked into one thing and you're getting frustrated, what if we open up the door to more thinking, not have that brick wall, and say, wait, think something new, shift the mind. And how, I just wanted to mention the thing around women too, because you were talking about body earlier. And there could be body stuff, limiting beliefs around body that could be, affecting other areas of a person's life. So Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, I have so many. I think I think the first thing when you were talking about permission and like the image of the women's breast coming up, I was saying the permission to be touched
Yeah. Okay.
because because we have, I know in this country and especially in the South, we have we have puritanical views of body image. And so there's a lot of conversations around sexual empowerment, sexual education, um, which I'm a huge proponent of sexual education, um, just comprehensive and all, and just because once you have an understanding of how the body works, there's the the stigma like is pretty much, I guess my hopeful self is saying eliminated, but I know reality says otherwise sometimes. It's just, the permission of like, do I want to be touched? Some people just for a variety of reasons, and how I practice Reiki with in person, I, hands off because, fibromyalgia, if you've been a burn victim, or you just don't want to be touched, it's still kind of respecting that person and their wishes.
Yeah.
And so I think sexual education is a really great beginning to talking about thinking aloud, just because you're stretching yourself just a little bit more. Um, and it it does make sometimes for uncomfortable conversation if you are of a mind where you where you're where you're trying to do your very best not to be comfortable because you understand what the end goal means. More awareness, more understanding, less confusion, and maybe even policy that,
Mm.
guides how we operate in our society. And
Thank
and
you. Thank you for elaborating on that.
no
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, that could. I was trying to keep it a short answer.
No, you did. No, you did totally fine.
Yeah,
Again, I know this is something, and we're already like at our time limit, so I'm going to quickly wrap up here. But
no
no,
problem.
I loved hearing your response on that because I think it's worth talking about and
Hmm.
talking about opening the mindset in those ways. I was
Hmm.
surprised to see that come up. I wasn't planning on incorporating talking about naked women in the
Oh
mindset.
my gosh, right? I know. I'll go and look at those pictures. I'm like, how in the world did they get here? And so that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I just testimonials was like a whole. I was like, what?
Well,
What in
okay.
the
So
world?
that leads me to this next, this last photo that I wanted to share on the screen is the more that we do open up and have that alignment. I want to go
Yeah.
back to Kristie's necklace when it does this amazing, like light, vibrant alignment thing. To me, I see a person who's, has an open heart, is fully
Yes.
expressed and everything. What comes up for you when you look at this, Kristie?
I just endless possibility. Like even just physically doing that, even if just you have time, like, if you go to just doing that physically and just feeling the energy, just because how your arm, it just such a simple, powerful thing. And
Yeah.
we can just do simple, powerful things with the momentum of just reminding ourselves that we are possible. It is possible, whatever the thing that you're on the path to pursue. And just like, wow, I get to learn all these things. And at, further in, I might decide to change my mind, but at least I have this opportunity to know. I have an opportunity to try.
Yep.
So yeah,
I,
it's been a wonderful journey.
that's awesome. Well, let's bring it back to the vision. Is you know How do you see the role of mindset impacting a person's ability to experience, their vision and their dreams?
I would say I would say it's like the core, because if your mindset is, you can have really wonderful intentions to see a thing done, to complete a task, but if your mindset is, oh, what gives you the right to do this? No one else like you does this. I mean, I'm just sharing the stuff that I know that I've said to myself in the past. I'm like, you know, there's no one else like you. I mean, who gives you, what do you think you are? I mean, doing this. And then I don't know, spirit sources like, oh no, friend, there's so many other examples. There's so many people like you. I'm like, oh wow. And so when I share that with people that I'm working with, I'm like, I want you to understand that you are not the only person who feels this way. And I think that's a lot of
Yes.
it is just a lot of times people feel so alone because they've been shamed into not sharing and not being vulnerable enough to seek people that have their highest good in mind. That sometimes it's just, I want you to understand you are not the only person who feels this way. And that is enough of a shift. Just
Yeah.
like almost imperceptible, but it's enough. It is
Yeah.
enough, and it doesn't. I don't think I don't think any of my shifts have been so huge like that. They've just been really like little shifts. Like, oh, huh, okay. But and I want to like be able to help people understand that. So that's just why I love doing what I do. So much fun.
I believe it. I believe it. And I love it. We went super deep into this conversation, and I love it. Thank you so much, Kristie, for elaborating on the topic of mindset and vision, and how all these different, right? We went in different directions of the body, and of course of your dreams, which is connected to vision, but
Yes.
all these different things that, if they're out of alignment, can impact you moving in the direction that you ultimately are wanting to go.
Yeah.
And I have to quickly acknowledge Betty is with us, and she said, I just saw the light, Kim.
Yay!
That's awesome, Betty. I'm so glad you got to see it. Oh yeah, it's really cool. That could be like, if it's not already, that's like a signature necklace, Kristie. You and your alignment with Reiki and all that.
Yeah, my mother-in-law gave it to me as a gift, so I love wearing it.
That's awesome. Well, we are closing out today's show. I do want to remind everyone, you can definitely connect with Kristie over at McKinleycoaching.com. And I want to spell that. That's M as in Mary, CKIN as in Nancy, LEY coaching.com. And Kristie is a self-care coach, and I just think it's fabulous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that is our show for today. Kristie, do you have any final thoughts? I want to make sure we close out properly.
Other than I love having these conversations. I love talking about self-care. I love it. It's just, there's always an opportunity to understand and learn more and connect and hear another perspective in someone else's story, because there's so many multifaceted angles. There's so many opportunities. And I guess anyone watching this, don't feel overwhelmed by all the possibilities you can have for yourself. Just maybe write a list of things that light you up and just choose the cheapest / easiest and, work your way up. I mean, I think my most expensive like self-care is scuba diving. So
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it's very peaceful.
Awesome. I think that's great that you know that. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you to Kristie for being here with us today. You're welcome.
We'll get it together.
and thank you to our viewers live or on the replay. Let us know what you're taking away from today's conversation down in the comments, wherever you listened or viewed this. And I hope that you are taking care of yourself. Allowing yourself to shift your mindset in whatever way is going to support you in staying in alignment and focused on your vision and moving in that direction. And then, like Kristie said, it can be such subtle, imperceptible shifts. Yes. It doesn't have to be anything massive or overwhelming. Just do that little bit. Yeah. And you're further opening up and connecting with your vision more and more as you do that. So
exactly.
Wonderful. I love today's conversation. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll see you again on Thursday for another Rise and Shine, Creating 2020 Vision. Bye. Stay there, Kristie.
Okay.